What's up YouTubers, it's your girl Shannon from EV and Chill, and today's video we're going to be talking about charging, because it can sound a little bit confusing. And if you drive a gas vehicle, you might by now be getting tired of paying $4 and $5 a gallon at the pump. Y'all, do you know how many cups of Starbucks that is? That kind of hurts my heart every time a friend tells me how much it costs to fill up. So at this point, you might even be thinking, well, like, hey, an EV sounds pretty darn good to me. Like, it sounds pretty cheap, but at the same time, it kind of sounds complicated. There are a lot of new terms going around that I just don't understand. I mean, we've got kilowatt, kilowatt hour, AC, DC. I'm not just talking about the band, Tesla supercharger, destination charger, Electrify America, EV Go, level 1, level 2, level 3 charging. It just all sounds so confusing. What the frunk? I feel like my mind could explode. But that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. We're going to break those terms down. We're going to make charging simplified. But to get started, the first thing we need to do is go over our basic terminology, and we need to go over the difference between a kilowatt and a kilowatt hour. I know they kind of sound similar, but they are in fact very different. And when you hear kilowatt hour, my mind goes to miles per hour. So I'm thinking like it must have something to do with speed, right? No, the answer is no, it does not. Think about it kind of like storage. It has to do more with the size of the battery. For example, my Tesla Model Y has a 75 kilowatt hour battery. My EV6 has a 77 kilowatt hour battery. There are other EVs that have different sizes. Some might have a 68 kilowatt hour battery. Some might have a 100 kilowatt hour battery. Again, all of this has to do with storage. So now that we know kilowatt hour has to do with storage, the kilowatt, that has to do with speed. So you can kind of equate it this way. Kilowatt equals miles per hour. Kilowatt hour equals storage. And people, I'm really no electrician here, so if I'm not saying something like super correct or technical, just drop it in the comments below. Okay, but let's keep talking about those kilowatts. So when we're speaking about kilowatts, we're talking about the speed at which you're able to charge your battery. So for example, you might have a 250 kilowatt charger that can charge your 75 kilowatt hour battery. Now that's a lot of kilos and that's a lot of watts. But again, kilowatt is how fast you're able to charge that battery. And now at this point, you might be going back to our example and you might be thinking, well, how fast is 250 kilowatts? This is where we need to segue and start talking about the different levels of charging. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. Uno, dos, tres. We got this. So let's talk about that level 1 charging. And I think the easiest way for me to kind of think about it and explain it is that it's the outlet you have in your house right now. It's what you charge your phone off of. I mean, you know, the one with like 2 slits and a round hole. Okay, get your mind out of the gutter. Don't get dirty on me here. But that is a level 1 charger. And people, it is slow. It is real slow. It is like a trickle charge. You are not going to get a lot of juice from that level 1 charger. I mean, if you think about it, that level 1 charger is charging the battery in your phone. Think about how small this battery is, and now think about how big the battery is in your EV. So of course it's going to take a few literal days to charge. We're talking like 2 or 3 days. We're talking 3 to 5 miles per hour. People, I can walk 3 miles per hour. And if I'm having to walk instead of using my vehicle, that's just not going to work for me. You might even be thinking like, if it's going to take days to charge my EV, an EV might not be right for me. But hang with me here, we will get there. But again, 3 to 5 miles per hour. When we had our Mustang Mach-E, that charged at 3 miles per hour. The Tesla Model Y that we're in, that'll get 5 miles per hour. And let's take the Mach-E for example. If we have that plugged in for 10 hours, 3 miles per hour times 10 hours, you're getting 30 miles. People, that is not very far. If we have this Model Y plugged in, that's 5 miles per hour times 10 hours, that's 50 miles. People, I don't know about you, but I travel more than that in a day. Maybe if you don't travel, you can make that work. But that's not going to cut it for mama. I mean, that's not practical, that's not sustainable. I think the average person travels like 30 miles a day. So if you are in the Mach-E and you charge for those 10 hours, if you add like a restaurant or a stop at the grocery store, like you're gonna be out of miles. That's just not gonna work for us people. We need something a little more practical, a little bit more functional. So this is where a level 2 charger comes into play. And there are different variations of a level 2 charger. What we use is a 1450 outlet called a NEMA 1450 because it can provide 50 amps. But basically what you need to know is that this is a level 2 charger. It kind of looks like a dryer outlet or what you might plug like your oven into or like a big old AC unit, one of those big honkin' huge outlets. That's a level 2 charger. But basically what you need to know is that there is a big difference between a level 1 and a level 2 charger. I mean, let's talk about that. A level 2 charger, you could charge your vehicle from 0 to full in like 7 to 10 hours. People, it can charge like 20 miles per hour all the way up to 40 miles per hour, in some cases even more, and that's a lot of juice. Basically, in real terms, that means that I can drive around, run my battery down all day long, go home, plug my vehicle in, I can go to bed, my husband can plug into me. I can wake up the next morning and I will have a full battery again. I mean, this is how we do like 99.9% of our charging. We just do it at home, especially being a 2 EV family. Like, this is a necessity for us. But these level 2 chargers, they're not just for at home. I mean, you've probably stayed in a hotel where you've looked out your window and you've seen a charger there. That's most likely a level 2 charger. And Tesla, they call these destination chargers, but other third-party companies make them. Sometimes they're called Clipper Creek or EV Go. Either way, these are all level 2 chargers, and basically these are meant for like you rolling up to the hotel, plugging in your car, checking in, sleeping, checking out the next morning, and your car is full and you're ready to go. So just like at the hotel, a level 2 charger is what we have in our garage. And if you're gonna buy an EV, I highly recommend that you just spend a little bit extra money and then have that level 2 charger installed in your house. It's gonna be practical, it's gonna be functional. I think it just fits mostly everyone's lifestyle a little bit better. Even just for range anxiety, you know that you'll always wake up and you'll have a full charge. But let's talk about how much that costs. So for us, when we had ours installed in our garage, it cost about $700. Now that can vary depending upon where you live and the electrician you use. It could be a little bit less, it could be a little bit more. Either way though, I highly recommend it. And keeping in line with talking about level 2 chargers, let's also talk about EVSE, or electric vehicle supply equipment. Now typically these are level 2 chargers also. There's different variations of them, some made by Juicebox, ChargePoint. They're all kind of the same concept. You can find them at hotels, you can have one installed in your garage. Now these are typically going to be a little bit more to install cost-wise. For us, we move around quite a bit, so we didn't feel it was worth the expense to have it installed. That's why we literally just had the electrician install a dryer outlet, and it's been working out great. But if you are going to live in the same house for a while, you might want to consider an EVSE. I mean, it kind of makes it a little bit more convenient because you can just throw your mobile charger in your car and forget about it. But again, either way, those are level 2 chargers. To summarize, basically a level 2 charger, you can go run your battery down, come home, plug in, charge overnight, and you'll have a full battery the next day. But some of you again might be thinking like, whoa, Shan, I mean, first you're telling me it's going to take a few days to charge my car, then my next option is to charge my car in a few hours. That's just not practical for me. Like, I need to go places. Is there anything quicker than that? And yes, there is. This is where level 3 chargers come into play. And I think a lot of people actually forget that there are level 3 chargers. I think most people have this idea of like an EV being like something you charge only at your house. And if you want to go on a road trip, you pray you make it. Otherwise, you just keep driving until you run out of juice. And then your air's not working, your heat's not working, you can't drive anywhere. Your car becomes a giant paperweight. You're looking at eating roadkill for dinner, all while you're waiting for a tow truck to come save you. But I promise people that is not the case. So let's talk about those level 3 chargers, because these are the fastest chargers that are out there at the moment right now, and these are really game changers. When we travel from DC to see our family in Rhode Island, we are charging at level 3 chargers. And another name for a level 3 charger is a DCFC, or direct current fast charger. You might even hear like DC fast charger. Basically, that's a level 3 charger. In the world of Tesla, they call these Tesla superchargers. Again, it's just another name for a level 3 charger. Basically, it's just meant to provide the maximum amount of energy in the shortest amount of time. So this is where that whole kilowatt versus kilowatt hour thing we were talking about earlier apply. And at a level 3 charger, you can charge your EV in as little as 18 minutes, or it can take up to 30 or 40 minutes, just depending upon your vehicle. I mean, if we look at my EV6, that can charge from 10 to 80% in as little as 18 minutes. Now the Tesla Model Y that we're in, we're probably looking at about 20 minutes or so. And talking about the Tesla, I can charge that quickly at a Tesla supercharger because a lot of those charge at 250 kilowatts. So speaking of the Tesla, a lot of Tesla superchargers are charging at a rate of 250 kilowatts. So that means that 250 kilowatts can charge my 75 kilowatt hour battery in about 20 minutes. And that is really fast. But other third parties also make level 3 chargers. You've probably heard of like Electrify America or EVgo. There are lots of other brands out there that provide level 3 charging. And again, this is the quickest way to travel. And these are what you see typically located along highways. I mean, level 3 charging is how we drove our Tesla from Washington State all the way to Washington, D.C. because they're really conveniently located along highways. A lot of them are located along like outlets or restaurants. By the time those 18 or 20 minutes go by, like I've already gone to the bathroom and got myself a cup of hot chocolate, maybe checked out a deal or two at the outlets. It works out really conveniently for me. Maybe not so much for my wallet though. So this Tesla Model Y is rated to go 303 miles. However, people, in reality, I cannot sit in a car for that long without stopping. My bladder is the size of a walnut. I need to stop like every 3 hours. I need to get a snack. I need to get a drink. So what we try to do when we travel is we try to align our stops basically with the Tesla supercharger stops. So if we're traveling, we'll stop every 3 hours. We'll plug in. I can use the restroom, maybe get a snack or something like that. And by the time we're done, our car is done charging too, so it works out really conveniently. And you may also be wondering if a non-Tesla can charge at a level 3 Tesla supercharger, and in the United States, they cannot. Tesla has its own connector and its own network protocol. A non-Tesla can just simply not charge there. So my EV6, for example, it cannot charge at a Tesla supercharger. It can only charge at one of those third-party level 3 chargers. Kind of like we talked about before, you know, the EVgo or Electrify America. So again, all non-Teslas can only utilize those third-party chargers. Now, the big difference between non-Teslas and a Tesla is that Tesla kind of swings both ways. A Tesla can use the Tesla supercharger network, but it can also utilize those third-party chargers also. So I know we covered a lot of information here, but it's super important to know the difference between a kilowatt and a kilowatt hour, speed versus size of battery. All of those things are really important. But at this point, you also might be thinking, well, Shan, just tell me what the best option is for me. What should I do? I'm thinking about buying an EV. What's my best option? Here's what I would do. If you have a house with a garage, just go ahead, bite the bullet, spend the extra money, have a level 2 charger installed right now. I mean, the peace of mind is going to pay for it itself. Now, if you don't have a garage, or maybe if you live in like a high-rise apartment or a condo and a level 2 charger isn't really an option, I mean, let's be real here. You're not going to have like an extension cord going from like your 120 volt outlet all the way down to your car. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So in that case, the best option would be kind of like how you would fuel up a regular gas vehicle. I mean, every few days you go to the gas station, right? You do the same thing with an EV. Every few days, just hit up a level 3 charger. You'll be there for like 18 or 20 minutes. I mean, if you want to kill some time, you can watch me on YouTube, but then you'll be good for a few days. When you think about it, EVs are actually pretty simple to own. I know a lot of the jargon gets kind of like confusing and overwhelming, but when you think about it, they're pretty straightforward. EVs are really simple to own, and don't worry, you are not going to run out of battery. I mean, kind of like an ICE vehicle. You're not just going to let like your gas car run out of gas, right? It's going to give you like a notification. Your car's going to let you know. It's going to blink lights at you. It's going to tell you, hey, put some more gas in me. It's the same thing with an EV. If you're getting low on battery, the car's going to notify you. I mean, in a Tesla, it will literally try to route you to the nearest charging station. And in the Mach-E and the EV6, if our battery's getting low, it's going to notify us. I mean, if you run out of battery in an EV, number one, you're either trying to do it on purpose, or number two, you're just dumb. And in that case, you probably shouldn't be driving at all. So again, owning an EV is pretty simple, and honestly, it's really fun. Oh, okay, and I do want to say that there are 2 things that I think you should download. I'm not sponsored by any of these apps, but I've just found them to be really helpful myself, and that is the PlugShare app and a Better Route Planner. Now, in your vehicle, like a Tesla or a Mach-E or EV6, whatever you have, each auto manufacturer has their own version of this, but it'll kind of show you where like the closest chargers are. But that's what these apps also do. So if we're planning a trip, we will use the PlugShare app and we'll find charging stations along our trip. So we just use these apps to better plan our route. Honestly, I prefer the PlugShare app a little bit better than a Better Route Planner. I just find the PlugShare app to be a little bit more intuitive. But again, I would recommend downloading both of those apps. See which one is a better fit for you. Okay, now again, I know that was a lot of information. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's logical to you. If it is, drop a comment below. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget, hit that subscribe button And if you've already subscribed, don't forget to drop this video a like. It helps with that whole YouTube algorithm thing. Well, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.